What's up, gel ballers? This is the new Double Bell Scar SC, which stands for Scar Subcompact. It was sent to me for review thanks to iHobby up in Queensland. They're the ones who also sell the gel balls that I like to use for all of my videos, so I'll put links to both the blaster and the gel balls down below. Now, I've got to be honest, I had never even heard of the Real Steel Scar Subcompact until I received the Gel Blaster version. The real thing was designed to be a CQB model of the very well-known FN Scar, and it's chambered in 5.56, sold exclusively to law enforcement and military. Where the much larger Scar that you would have used in Modern Warfare 2 has a stock that looks like an UGG boot, I actually quite like how the SC looks with its small size and PDW style stock. And the big draw for me was that this ticks all of the right boxes that you'd want in an M4 gel blaster without actually being a boring old M4. So starting out at the front, out of the box, it has a blaze orange flash hider for safety. But since we all play at private fields, you can just remove that by loosening a grub screw underneath and then twisting it off of the 14mm counterclockwise thread. With it removed, you can see the inner barrel extends past the outer barrel. This would usually allow you to add a riser style hop up to the inner barrel itself, but Double Bell have kept the 8.4mm airsoft dimensions instead of using a larger 9.5mm gel ball spec outer diameter. I wouldn't consider that a downside though, because Double Bell include one of their really nice black flash hiders with a built-in hop up, which you can screw straight onto the outer barrel instead. It has both an upper and lower tongue to dial in your accuracy, just like an inner barrel mounted hop-up like the riser I mentioned before. Moving a little further up from there, they've added a rotating gas regulator, a nice purely cosmetic touch that I think most people would never even notice the blaster has. The Scar SC has metal Picatinny rails on either side for attachments, pretty much a given these days, but just above those, it has a sling mount on either side. And as I get further into the overview, you'll notice ambidextrous is a common theme with this blaster. Underneath, there's a slightly longer pick rail where you can attach something like a vertical grip. And up top, there's a full-length rail and two adjustable flip-up iron sights included in the box. Or you could just add a red dot sight like myself here. There's plenty of cheap airsoft ones you can find online. The blaster has an all-metal upper and polymer lower, and on the sides it has an ambidextrous charging handle. You can unscrew it and swap it from the left side to the right side, or vice versa. And it also comes with a spare one in the box, so if you really wanted to, you could have one on either side at the same time. For a side bit of trivia, unlike the original Scar, the Scar SC in real life has a non-reciprocating bolt. Now on this replica, the charging handle is supposed to lock back and release with a bolt release, but mine's very temperamental. When I first opened it up out of the box, it was doing it every time, and now it doesn't seem to want to lock back anymore. There's no real practical use for it though, there's no mag prime or anything like that. On the airsoft version, it would allow you to access adjusting the hop up though. Moving on to the mag well, this blaster comes with a Gen 8 style mag. But I found it can also fit my SLR mags with the handy transparent side windows, which I absolutely love because you can see how many gels you have left. And they're not even tight to get in, unlike a lot of other gel blasters designed to suit Gen 8 mags. Like everything else on the blaster, it has an ambidextrous mag release. Press the button in from either the left side or the right side to remove your mag. Taking a look at the fire select, this is a little bit off from the real thing. Full auto should be straight up, semi should be 45 degrees, and safe should be 90 degrees. I'm guessing this is a gearbox limitation, but the fire select is also ambi. It can be adjusted from either the left or right side of the blaster, and it has a ball detent that gives a nice tactile and slightly audible click between settings, so you don't have to actually look at it to know where it's at. The trigger pull, like most other stock AEG gel blasters, has a long travel and no wall. There's no way to tell at what point the blaster will actually fire, because it feels the same the whole way. Coming to the back of the blaster, there's a lever you flick across to the left to allow adjusting the length of the stock. I'd recommend using it fully extended, but on the real thing, the shorter lengths in between are for when you're wearing a plate carrier. So I guess depending on how much of a LARPer you are, you have a few different options. The stock itself has a little bit of wobble to it, but so does pretty much every other PDW stock. And there's a little bit of texturing on the back to help stop it sliding off your shoulder. There's also a neat little cheek rest up top, just like the real thing, only this one's on a hinge, so you can flip it up out of the way when you access the battery compartment. To get into it, grab something like an Allen key or a screwdriver, and just push in this tab at the bottom. Then the entire stock can slide down and off, revealing the wires and the mini Tamiya battery connector. The space inside is quite long, but very narrow. In fact, the included tiny 11.1 volt battery barely squeezes in due to its width, and I accidentally took some of the plastic off the outside trying to squeeze it in. I'm fairly certain this is designed more for long skinny 7.4 volt batteries that are used a lot more in airsoft. But with the inaccuracy of gel balls, you do usually want a higher rate of fire that an 11.1 volt battery gives. So for all of the gameplay and testing, I actually used an externally mounted Titan 11.1 volt brick, and you can very easily run the wires out the back to the stock, and then just tape a battery on. Call it junky if you will, but I like it because it lasts an entire day of gameplay. You can also fairly easily access and change the spring of this blaster. Just remove the rear screw on either side, left and right. All the other screws are actually fake and just for looks, but there is one screw up top in the Picatinny rail you have to remove too. With those 3 screws removed, the entire back pulls off and you can twist out the spring retainer to upgrade or downgrade the spring. And to meet the 300 FPS requirements of the field that I play at, I did have to swap in an M90 spring. But that's just for the gameplay footage. I'll be testing it with the stock spring installed as we go on. With the back half removed, getting to the rest of the internals is just like a standard M4. Knock out the front pin and the upper separates from the lower, revealing a cast metal V2 gearbox. It has a ported cylinder, and removing the barrel, I gave that a measure too, and it has a 210mm length. Makes sense why the cylinder is ported. It also has a 7.4mm inner diameter, and as I mentioned earlier, an 8.4mm outer diameter. Overall, I think the Scar SC with its metal top half and polymer lower come together to be quite a nice feeling blaster, and the overall total length makes it great for CQB. That concludes my overview of the blaster though, so now let's get on with some testing. I read on the product page that semi-auto shoots a little harder than full auto when using an 11.1 volt battery, so I'll test both and then the rate of fire and then an accuracy test last. Here's semi-auto.
367, 287, 295, 337, 295, 344, 330, 351, 287, 304, 334, 302, 328, 346, 346, 340, 317, 342, 347, 343, 317, or 315, sorry, 340, 331, 310.
On semi-auto, it shot a high of 367, low of 287, average of 326, with a pretty inconsistent standard deviation of 22. I think most people will use this on full auto though, so let's see how that performs now.
$319, $337, $305, $315, $308, $320, $330, $327, $309, $292, $333, $322, $321, $290, $298, $332, $298, 328.
On full auto, it shot a high of 337, low of 290, average of 315, with a better standard deviation of 14. On full auto, the average velocity has dropped by 11 feet per second. And just a reminder, if this FPS is still too high for your field's limits, you can very easily remove the back of the blaster and install a weaker spring like the M90 I did for all of the gameplay, since our FPS cap is 300. Now let's measure the rate of fire on full auto.
(1,076 rounds per minute). We all talk in rounds per second.
17.9 rounds per second is not bad at all for a stock gel blaster. Obviously, it would be a little bit lower on 7.4 volts, but where's the fun in that? We'll all be using this on 11.1 volts, right? For my final test though, let's see how it shoots for accuracy at a distance of 30 meters.
Now, because this does have a hop up, I can actually aim straight at the center of the target and the gels will hit, you know, around the target within about a meter or so. With the inconsistency of the size of gel balls and their soft squishy nature, you can't expect every single gel ball to hit the target at 30 meters, but we'll see how well it does. I'll just fire on full auto, short bursts of about 5 shots, and we'll see how it does. The total about 25 shots or so. I think that's enough. Just from observing it from back here, looks like it was probably about 1.5 meters spread. So some of the gels missed the target left and right. With a full auto spray though, you're gonna decimate someone with a gel blaster like this from 30 meters away. And just out of curiosity, if we are using this on full auto, here's 30 meters. They're dead. Let's move back to 40. Yeah, they're still dead. Can we do 50? I don't know if that was a reach or not. I think those actually did reach. Anyway, I'd say this is good within 30 meters for actually making sure someone dies. And out to 50 meters, you can hit people if you aim a bit higher.
From a distance of 30 meters with the included hop-up installed, it shot a 1.5 meter spread, which is pretty typical of a gel blaster. But after using it for a day of gameplay, what are my final thoughts on the Double Bell Scar SC? Well, as I said at the start of the video, this blaster ticks all of the boxes you'd want to look for in an M4 without actually being a boring old M4. It has ambidextrous everything, sling points on either side, mag releases on both sides, fire selects on both sides, and those fire selects have a nice tactile feel to them, so you don't have to look to know what mode you're in. It's compatible with Gen 8 mags and SLR mags without the magwell being a tight fit on them. I can't say I've used any other blasters that aren't tight on SLR mags when they also take Gen 8 mags. The spring is easy to access and swap out with just 3 screws, and while it is very cramped for battery space inside, you can very easily mount a large 11.1 volt external battery for a full day of gameplay. If you did want to conceal the battery entirely inside, I'd personally recommend downgrading to a 7.4 volt. Being a blaster made by Double Bell, it does of course come with a thread-on hop-up out of the box, and with the adjustable PDW style buttstock, I think the short overall length makes it great for close quarters. I think if you want something a little unique to use out on the field without having to spend money on new mags, the Double Bell Scar SC will use all of your existing M4 gear and might just be the blaster you're looking for. As a question of the day, what do you guys think looks better, the Scar SC or the old original Scar? comment down below and also find it at the links down below. That's all I have for you today. Consider leaving a like or a dislike to let me know what you thought of the video. Here's 2 other ones you might enjoy, and as always, thank you very much for watching. See ya.